Today we're going to go over 6 different arcades in Central Florida. We're going to tell you our favorites, of course, at the top, but we're going to start with our least favorite. We do prefer the old school arcades, but this is going to be a mixture of old and new games. And if you want to see the full videos, I'm going to link it in the description so you can see each one separately, as we cover each location pretty extensively. So in 6th place is called In the Game. This is inside Icon Park in the wheelhouse. There is actually a lot to do at Icon Park, but this is in 6th place because it is a very small arcade and the prices are very high. For instance, we had the Play Pass at Icon Park, which got a $5 credit per person. So we had $20 in credits, and that wasn't enough for this Rabbids VR. So just this one game was more than $20 to play. We didn't do the mirror maze, but it's $12 a person. It does make the arcade look bigger than what it is until you actually go in. There wasn't really anything memorable. It's a lot of token type games, some racing games, a couple of VR. I'm gonna guess maybe around 50 games, most of them being the newer ones. We didn't see any old school type arcade games. If you do the Play Pass with Icon Park, which is still a great deal, you might as well just pop in and use your credits, but I would not come here just for the arcade. If you don't mind spending the extra money, then it could be a fun few hours. We basically used our $20 credit for one person doing the Rabbids and then these two doing the VR coaster. And they do have prizes as well if you do win any tickets or tokens. Even though the arcade is small, there still is a lot to do at Icon Park. I would highly recommend going just to do the other activities. Next up, in 5th place, is Dezerland, which is in Orlando, Florida. The website states it's Florida's largest indoor attraction. Now, I am just basing this off of the arcade, but there is a lot more to do there. I will say they have a good variety of games. There's a lot that you can sit inside and shoot. There's some racing games, a lot where you can win tokens, tickets to get prizes. Dezerland really is a huge indoor park, but the arcade is very well spread out too. The reason we put it in 5th place is because I felt that the games were a little bit expensive. It was around $1 to $2 to play each one, so I would definitely keep an eye out to see if they have any specials. But if you are there to do a little bit of everything, it really is a great place to go. The car museum that they have is really neat. This is just outside the arcade, but for an additional $25 a person, they do have a huge car museum you can check out. And then they also have a pinball palace that is $12 to play for an hour, or you can play for the whole day for $25 a person. I like that it is separated and you could play for a long time if you wanted to, if that's something you're interested in. But they also have bowling, go-karting, there's a trampoline park, there's a lot more to do there. And like I said, I will link our full tour in the description. In 4th place is Dave & Buster's. Now, we've been to 2 locations so far, the Orlando and Tampa, and we hope to do the Daytona Beach soon. We always go on a Wednesday so that it is half-price games. You get double for your money. Both locations we've been to have had pretty similar games. There are some differences, but there's a lot of shooters like Halo, House of the Dead, the Jurassic Park. Lots of racing. They had these more realistic ones, and then they also had Mario Kart. Dave & Buster's is a good place for families to go, so there's a variety of games for all ages. And of course, it's fun to see how many tokens you can get at the end, because I feel like their prizes are fairly reasonable. Both the Orlando and Tampa locations are big. There's at least a couple hundred games. And then we tried food at both locations as well. I think Orlando was our favorite for the food. Usually the kids pick out some sort of plush, and when we went, it was during the pandemic, of course, but the recent one in Tampa had a lot of different plush. They all have little knickknacks, candy, board games. Sometimes they have video games. Of course, you have to have a lot of points for those. So I rate Dave & Buster's 4 because it's a little bit more affordable and the kids always have a great time with us as we have fun together as a family. It's very limited on the old school games, but they do have a couple that are on huge screens, like Pac-Man and Galaga or Galaxian. Next up at number 3 is the District that is in Oviedo, Florida. I love that they have weekly specials Monday through Friday, so that way you do get to get more for your money. When you walk in, there's a pretty good amount of pinball tables, so that's one thing that my husband loves, are pinball machines. And all the arcade games seem pretty well upkept. We didn't have any issues with anything broken or anything like that. It seems like they keep it in good condition. If you want to see all the pinball machines that they did have, I will link the video in the description. There is quite a bit, and I do try to show all the arcade games as well. Right past the pinball machines to the left is a few bowling lanes, and to the right is a bar and restaurant. They have similar games to Dave & Buster's, like some that you can win tokens on. Quite a few racing games too, of course Mario Kart. They have the water gun fun, bowling lane, knocking the clowns down. And I love how on Mondays, it's $20, you can play all that you want, unlimited arcade games. Of course, for that price, you aren't going to be able to acquire tickets, but you can play all day and not have to worry about how much you're spending either. Or Tuesdays is half price games, and then I believe you can earn tickets on Tuesdays for half the price instead. On the website, it does say they have around 50 arcade games. It's not huge, but I think for the weekday specials, it's a lot of fun to go to. On Tuesdays, they have BOGO bowling games, and then Wednesdays is only $1 per game. And they have the kids' favorite VR ones. They cannot get enough of the VR and the shooters. For prizes, they have the same kind of stuff, the cheapy little toys, the candy, and then they have some decent stuff against the wall. It's not too hard to win prizes there, tokens there. In second place, I actually have to put Elevate. Elevate really surprised us. That's in the Seminole Town Center in Sanford, Florida. And they also have specials during the week, so for $22 you can get 2 attractions and a $10 arcade credit, for example. I actually love the layout of this place. When you first walk in, there is a rope course, and to the right is the bowling, but upstairs is the arcade. It's more of like the newer arcade games. And then you go downstairs, and this is all in the Seminole Town Center. It's like a big mall. The downstairs has go-karting, mini golf, laser tag, and old school arcade games. That's why I'm putting Elevate at number 2, because I love the variety that they have. We can easily spend our whole day in here. Now, we did 2 attractions in our vlog, and we will be back to do 2 more. On the website, it says they have around 150 arcade games, so this would be a mix of the old school and the newer ones that are upstairs. So if you want to see the full tour, the link is in the description. And we also tried food, which was really tasty as well. And back upstairs, they have a few of the VR games. They have some token ones. And since we did the 2 attractions, we also had a $20 arcade credit for a Wednesday. And we actually got a lot out of that money. The games seemed fairly priced. It was just a few credits per one. It wasn't too bad at all. Elevate just opened about a month or 2 ago, but everything seemed new, working, no issues. And the upstairs on the other side has more of the shooter type games and racing. And finally, at number 1, the coolest arcade we have been to is called Arcade Monsters. This location is in Oviedo, Florida, and they have a couple other locations. We're going to be going to some of the new ones they're getting ready to open this year. If you'd like to see any more tours of arcades, definitely subscribe. Comment down below if there's a specific one you would like to see. And we can't wait to check out the other Arcade Monster locations. Now, when you first walk in, there is a pretty big room just of pinball, and there's actually an upstairs in that same room. And if you notice on all the walls in each room, there is so much artwork. It is really cool. Each location has different characters around the walls. And the website states they are the largest arcade in Florida. There's over 200 games. The biggest location is the one we're showing right now, at least for the time being. So we did the $20 a person unlimited play. I do like that you don't have to keep track of how much money you're spending. You can just go in and play as much as you want. Now we did go during a weekday and early in the afternoon, so there really wasn't a lot of people, but I'm sure it does get busier Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. This room had a few different Japanese games, and then they had Star Wars, Dragon's Lair artwork right there next to the bathroom. Even the bathroom inside is painted. And then they had Dance Dance Revolution in that little section. Right above the area we were just at, there's also another upstairs. Had a couple of old school games, and then I think it was more of like music type games. I think that's Sound Voltax, and then they had Qbert, of course, which is a arcade, old school arcade, but they had some Japanese ones that looked like they were music themed. And looking down on the next floor, they have shooting games, Luigi's Mansion, House of the Dead, and then some like Donkey Kong and Pac-Man. This was probably my husband's favorite room. Fix-It Felix, Jr., Dr. Mario, Popeye, Tron, Space Invaders, Centipede. I love the variety here too. Just like Elevate, Arcade Monsters has old school and new games, so a very good variety for all ages. In the next room, they have a bunch of racing and fighting games and a few more of the retro style games. I'll put our link in here because there really is a lot to see in this arcade. And finally, back in that first room with the room of pinball machines, upstairs, I'll show that briefly. They have even more old school retro arcade games upstairs. And then they had some console games as well, like the Switch. This was actually the first time my kids were playing Super Smash Brothers, and they had so much fun. Yes, I know I should have introduced it sooner, but better late than never. And this is looking down from that first upstairs area. I hope our list was helpful for you. If you agree, disagree, feel free to comment down below. And if we missed an arcade in Central Florida, let us know. We're always trying to look for new ones. And like I said, stay tuned for the other locations of Arcade Monsters coming, but we'll also be looking for different arcades around Central Florida.
Subscribe!